Erp. What's up with it? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Make sure we hit them likes when you're coming in the building. Make sure when you step in the building, we hit them likes. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm live, but I didn't hear the news. But now I'm hearing the news. Can we confirm that?
Yo, what happened?
Shh. I'm fucking live, bro. Like, you know not to talk to me. That's crazy. Make sure we hit them likes on the win. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. That's crazy. So I believe... If I believe right, it says that Josh McDaniels has announced that Derek Carr will be benched. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just make sure I get it right. Let me make sure I do my fact checking. Let me make sure I'm doing my fact checking. I'm thinking the Raiders have announced that they will be benching former starting quarterback Derek Carr. I would believe, to no one's surprise at this point, I would say to no one's surprise. So here it is, Raider Scout on Instagram. The Raiders have benched Derek Carr. Jarrett Stidham will start versus the 49ers. Carr has possibly played his last snap with the Raiders. Wow. Wow. So yeah, I just got the news. It's just confirmed. It has been confirmed. Derek Carr is benched. He will not start, and I think that would mean Derek Carr is all but done as the Raiders quarterback for now and the near future. Because everybody knows that if Derek Carr were to get hurt, they would owe him a lot of money. And if they're not trying to pay him a lot of money, that means they're not bringing him back, because in order to bring him back, they would have to pay him a lot of money. So it seems like the writing's on the wall that Derek Carr will, in fact, be done. His career as a Raider is probably over. Probably over, because I don't even think Derek Carr is the number 2 quarterback going into the game. I think Derek Carr will just not even be activated. There will be no chance. So yeah, I believe that probably means Derek Carr is done as a Raider. So with that being said, I know a lot of people might think that that's speculation, but at the end of the day, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And like when you know the information is, if Derek Carr is to get hurt, you have to pay him this amount of money. So then you're sitting him so you don't have to pay him that amount of money. Well, it kind of sounds like you're not willing to pay him that kind of money. And I think that's the kind of money it would take for the Raiders to keep him as the quarterback next year. So yes, there's still going to be a possibility of them that, you know, they could still have him back as the quarterback next year. There's possibilities that they'll restructure his contract and take less money. That's all possible. That's all possible. But for the last few days, everyone has speculated that if the Raiders were to bench Derek Carr, it would be, in fact, a huge sign that Derek Carr is not going to be a Raider next year. So, I mean, if that was the information that we got Monday and Tuesday, well, now it's Wednesday and announced that he's not starting and not playing, then, I mean, it's not that bad to, you know, assume that Derek Carr won't be a Raider next year. It's not like Derek Carr has played great this season to where it's like it's blasphemous to think that Derek Carr won't be back. I mean, look, at the end of the day, that seems to be where everything is trending. Everything is trending to Derek Carr not being a Raider next year. And I think to most people, they're happy about that. Most people are happy that the Carr era might be over. Like, I just don't want to get quoted as saying Derek Carr is done as a Raider because I don't really know that, right? But I'm just saying all signs are pointing to Derek Carr being done as a Raider. So what I'm saying is that if Derek Carr is going to be, in fact, done as a Raider, there are going to be a lot of people that are happy, a lot of people that are relieved, a lot of people feel like they're finally getting what they've been asking for the last 5 years or more, ever since 2016. I am on the other side of that. I don't think Derek Carr. I don't think Derek Carr is as bad as everybody says he is. I don't think Derek Carr is trash. I don't think Derek Carr is a bum. I don't think Derek Carr is just as poor as a quarterback as he has been labeled. But at the same time, if you're bringing in a new head coach and you know that this is your year to audition for the coach, you would think that you would have put your best foot forward and maybe played a little better. So it's almost one of those things where it's like, I don't agree with Derek Carr not being the quarterback next year, but I'm not surprised with how he's played that's going to be the repercussions. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you're going to say he's average, like there's a big difference between an average quarterback and a trash quarterback. And I think that's only been my argument for Derek Carr. And even though I've been called a stan and I've been called all these things, I think my real argument, when you break down the meat and potatoes of the argument, has just been Derek Carr is a lot better than you guys are saying he is. That's all. That's it. I never said he was elite. I never said he was great. Did I feel he was a top 10 quarterback? There was a time where he was a top 10 quarterback. Like, you can't sit here and argue with me in his 9th year and say he's not a top 10 quarterback when the statements of him being a top 10 quarterback were made 2 or 3 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Outside of this season, Derek Carr has fared very well in every passing category amongst the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Michael, appreciate the super. Do you think Tay asked for a trade? I don't know. I don't think so. Because we don't even know what they're doing. Adam Schefter reported DC bench. Wow, for him to go out that way. If upgrade, then do so. Did want to see the whole core get a second year in the system. I agree. Just wondering what Tay is thinking right now. I don't know. I don't know because it's not guaranteed that Derek Carr is done. It's just he's done right now. Yes, it would look. I would be like 90% sure that Derek Carr is not going to be the quarterback next year. But you got to leave some percentage of, shit going crazy. Bro, why not draft a QB, sit behind DC, watch us play, sit him? Well, because the thing is that you can't pay Derek Carr that kind of money just to sit him. And make sure we hit the likes, man. 500 people in the chat, 91 likes. Make sure we hit those likes. You can't pay Derek Carr all that money to sit him. So, yeah, in a perfect world, you would have Derek Carr be your bridge quarterback, go draft a quarterback, and let him learn the system behind Derek Carr. But you can't pay Derek Carr $30, $40 million just to be a bridge quarterback. You can't do it. And, like, a lot of people will say, like, you're flipping, switching sides, whatever the case may be. Like, at the end of the day, I believe Derek Carr, it's hard to say should or deserved. I can't say that. I think that it would have been nice to see Derek Carr get another year with Devontae and a healthy Waller and a healthy Renfro. That would have been nice. That would have been nice. Ideal for me as a fan of the team and Derek Carr. That would have been nice. But with the way Derek Carr has performed this year, I am not at all surprised that Derek Carr won't be the quarterback going forward, or if he's not the quarterback going forward. You see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily, I don't feel bad for Derek Carr because, as much as I respect Derek Carr as a quarterback, I'm not blind, and I can see that, Derek Carr struggled this year a lot. Derek Carr has struggled a lot this year, a lot more than I thought he would, whether it be a new season or not. I mean, a new system or not. He struggled a lot more than I thought he would. And at the end of the day, I don't think he did enough to convince Josh McDaniels that this is the 4 or 5 year plan. You know what I mean? And when you really break it down, it's like, was Derek Carr ever really Josh McDaniels' guy anyway? Was that really ever the scenario? Because if it was, then I don't know if they would have created the contract that they did for him that gave them out to get rid of him. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like all along that Derek Carr was on a prove it type deal. Everybody felt like that his contract was set up for the Raiders to have an out. So clearly they weren't sold on him being the guy. And, it is what it is. I mean, You can't run with narratives. You can't run with speculation. I mean, the facts are the facts. I think had Derek Carr played better this year, there would have been a better chance of him being the quarterback next year. I don't know if Derek Carr could have done anything to actually solidify himself as the quarterback of the Raiders going forward, because I don't know if Josh McDaniels actually wanted him to be the quarterback going forward. You see what I'm saying? So when you feel like you don't know if McDaniels wanted Derek Carr long term, then I don't know if Derek Carr could have done anything to change his mind. I think Derek Carr could have just played well and upped his trade value, and then they would have been, you know what I'm saying? They would have been that. And I know a lot of people are going to take the opportunity to try to make it seem like I'm going to be upset or I'm going to be sad. At the end of the day, whether people like to believe it or not, I've been on YouTube for 2 years. So I've only publicly talked about Derek Carr for 2 years. I have been a Raiders fan for over 30 years of my life. Okay, so you have to understand, although I am a fan of Derek Carr, I was always going to be a fan of the Raiders first and last. Do you like certain players? Yes, I love Charles Woodson. I love Derek Carr. There were certain players along the way that I love Josh Jacobs, right? But it doesn't mean that you build your whole fandom on just those individuals. Now, a lot of stuff gets lost in translation because whether you're a fan of Derek Carr or not, right? Whether you're a fan of Derek Carr or not, every person who created Raiders content the last 2 years has made majority of their videos talking about Derek Carr. Period. So just because my talking of Derek Carr happened to be on the positive side doesn't mean that I'm a bigger fan of Derek Carr than I am the Raiders, right? That would be stupid to think that. At the end of the day, Derek Carr has just been the topic of conversation, the center of conversation the last 2 or 3 years since I started YouTube. Since I started YouTube, the conversation almost 5 days a week has been Derek Carr. Had the conversation been anything else, that would have been what I talked about. So I think that we have to get off the whole narrative of Raider Honcho likes Derek Carr more than he likes the Raiders. That would be stupid, okay? I've been a Raiders fan before Derek Carr was born. All right, so we got to let go of that. Barstow, appreciate the super. Josh McDaniels is just as much to blame or more for the season. Carr doesn't deserve to sit the bench. He deserves to go out fighting with his team. Yes, he struggled, but what quarterback doesn't have a season they don't struggle? I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I also feel like no matter how bad Josh McDaniels is, right? No matter how bad Josh McDaniels was, there were still moments in games where Derek Carr just didn't make the plays he needed to make. And that's just being objective. I still believe Derek Carr is the upper echelon quarterback in the NFL. Whether the Raiders get rid of him or not, that doesn't change my perspective of him, right? My perspective of Derek Carr is that Derek Carr is the upper echelon quarterback. But I also can admit that he played like shit more times than he should have this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And when you're getting a new head coach, listen, although my quarterback days was limited to high school football, right? I would tell you, when I went to college, I was a defensive back. My limited quarterback days at high school football, I played for 3 different offensive coordinators. Every coordinator told me how to play the position differently. Every coordinator had different rules for different coverages and different things, right? So I know it can be tough to learn different systems, but at the end of the day, if I'm any good at the position, I find a way to get the job done. And as much as I like Derek Carr, as much as I believe in Derek Carr, and as much as I wouldn't mind Derek Carr being the quarterback going forward, at the end of the day, Derek Carr had opportunities to make plays that he didn't make. That does not change how I feel about Derek Carr, the player. It just means that in this present moment, there were too many times Derek Carr didn't get it done this year. Doesn't change any of the arguments I've ever had. Doesn't change my stance I've ever had on Derek Carr. I'm not going to be one of those people that now, just because Derek Carr is benched and it's not going to be a Raider, I'm like, oh, Derek Carr sucks and this is what they should have did. That is not my stance. My stance is purely that the Raiders are doing what they feel necessary for their franchise. Period. Period. Right? The point of him sitting the bench is that if he were to get hurt, he would guarantee like $30-something million. So clearly they're not trying to pay him that money, which would mean to me they're not going to bring him back and pay him that money. I don't mind the Carr haters in the chat. Yo, we got almost 800 people in the chat. Yo, make sure we hit them likes, yo. Hit them likes. I'm going to toast up to my guy, Derek Carr. You know, I got a little bit of that hen dog left. I think it's only right that Henny Hodge makes an appearance. And you know, it's not a sad day. It's not a sad day. It's not a sad day. Look, it is what it is, man. This is professional sports. It is what it is. I believe Derek Carr is a good quarterback in the NFL. You're not going to change my mind of that. I can't tell you that he played his best football this year. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. You think Derek Carr plays one more down with the Raiders? I don't. Hey, if this is the end of the road for Derek Carr, man, cheers to Derek Carr, man. He had a hell of a ride. I mean, I think all the Carr supporters, myself, right? I consider myself a Carr supporter. I would believe that it's almost a relief in a sense if Derek Carr doesn't play for the Raiders anymore, because it gets exhausting having to argue on his behalf every fucking week. I think that, I think that it's a relief to feel like maybe now the focus will be taken off the quarterback position as far as where the blame should go. And maybe we can start fixing the team, because I don't believe that quarterback was the issue. I do believe that quarterback was part of the issue this year more than in years past. I don't think we can disagree with that, right? No matter how much you like Derek Carr, I don't think you can disagree with the fact that in previous years, Derek Carr was less of the issue than he was this year. Derek Carr made some bad throws. Hey, Arnold, no, nothing has me weak. Nothing. No, I don't. I feel exactly the same today as I did yesterday and the day before that. Like, I want the Raiders to win. Y'all got to understand, a lot of the shit that people will say about me has nothing to do with anything I've ever said or done. It has everything to do with what they want to believe. Right? It's selective hearing, selective memory. Like the narrative and perspective of Raider Honcho is actually further from what I actually am. I'm a Raiders fan. I happen to be a big fan of the quarterback that plays for the team I'm a fan of. That should make me a target. I shouldn't be maligned because I like the quarterback who plays for the team I like. Right? And I shouldn't be maligned because you have people that don't actually know a lot about football that happen to have very big platforms that will tell you certain things that have nothing to do with football related. Like, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I've made every opinion I've made has been based on football, not based on how I felt. So at the end of the day, that makes me okay with living with a decision that Josh McDaniels and the Raiders organization made based on football. They didn't make a personal decision, so it's not going to affect me personally, right? They made a football decision. I'm a football guy. I know how that shit works, all right? Stid versus start against 49ers defense. Going to see how he is. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Appreciate the soup, Obi. I mean, look, at the end of the day, so you're going to have a bunch of people that are going to go on Twitter and say, oh, Honcho down bad. Oh, the Carr stands are down bad. I mean, that's just irresponsible, because at the end of the day, 95% of the people that rooted for Carr root for the Raiders, right? You understand that? So we want the Raiders to win, all right? So at the end of the day, I'm not mad about the decision the Raiders made. I'm not surprised by the decision. I'm not hurt by the decision. Like, that's not going to be it, because at the end of the day, I don't think Derek Carr played good enough football this year for anybody to make the argument why he should be back next year. Period. We all can say we want him back. Carr will thrive elsewhere. Time to move on. Hey, Birdman, I don't disagree with you. Raider Chubbs, unless they sign Brady or make a splash at QB, I don't see Jacobs re-signing with Raiders. He seems done with the organization. That could be. But what I was saying is that I don't think any fan of Derek Carr right now that feels like they would want Derek Carr to be the quarterback next year, I don't think you can make a strong enough argument to why he should be the quarterback next year. Period. Yo, that's just the facts. Like, we all know I'm a fan of Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr can go to 12, 13 teams right now in the NFL and they become immediate contenders. And if they already were contenders, they remain contenders. I think the Raiders is like, look, the Raiders are in a situation where no matter how much they like chicken, no matter how much they love chicken, at some point they're going to want to try some steak. And at the end of the day, that's what's happening right now. As much as the Raiders might like Derek Carr and feel he can be a good quarterback, it's just been too much of the same thing, and they want to try something new. You can't be mad at that. You can't. Look. Derek Carr has had enough years to prove he's worthy of anybody fighting on his behalf. He's had plenty of time to prove that. He's had plenty of time to prove that he was worth fighting for and worth the money, right? at the end of the day, there's been too many inconsistencies in Derek Carr's game, and I know it's been receivers. I know it's been blocking. I know it's been defense. I know those things. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a guy that you got to spend a lot of money on that hasn't had a lot of production for you to fall back on and say, well, you know what? I'll pay him this money based on this production. You can't come to the table with a bunch of reasons why it didn't work. You have to be able to come to the table with a bunch of reasons why it's going to work. And I just don't know if Derek Carr gave him enough reasons why it can work. I just don't think he did. And that's that. That's that. There's not much to say about that part. Honcho, they scapegoat in DC. Look, I don't disagree with that. Look, getting rid of Derek Carr will be like a deodorant to what the issues are with the Raider franchise. It'll allow them time to not be good. Right. That's what it comes down to, right? Getting rid of Derek Carr allows you time to get back on the treadmill without anybody criticizing you. Because once you get rid of a quarterback, right? Once you get rid of the quarterback and you bring in a new guy, new system, new coaching staff, whatever the experience, all those things will be put into the conversation of why things aren't what we think they should be as fans. At the end of the day, Josh McDaniels doesn't work for us. He works for Mark Davis. So all he has to do is prove to Mark Davis that, look, this is the plan going forward. This is what we're going to do, and this is what the timetable is going to be, right? We gotta be more responsible as fans to not like blur the lines of what it is to support somebody on the team. I think that's been my biggest issue. My biggest issue with YouTube and the fan base has been just because my personal opinion is this, I'm being attacked personally. Well, you don't know me personally. You only know my personal opinion of something. And my personal opinion is based on football-related facts, not football-related feelings. So at the end of the day, you would hope that with Derek Carr being gone, it would kind of even out the fan base and balance out the fan base to where we all can just focus on moving forward and winning and having different arguments. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I've been maligned and I've been ridiculed and I've been criticized because my personal opinion was Derek Carr has not been the biggest issue with the Raiders. Right? That's been my argument. Somehow I become a fanboy, I become a stan, I become a dick eater, I become all these names just because my opinion was Derek Carr's not as bad as you say he is. Think about that. Think about the criticism of me has never been, oh, he lies, oh, he switches stances, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. My only thing people have criticized me for is that I like Derek Carr better than you. That's it? Well, shit, I like the fucking Jordan 1s better than the 3s. What does that make me? You see what I'm saying? Willie, when did I call Derek Carr elite? Was it this season? If it's not this season, then shut your punk ass up. Like, hold on, I'll get to that in a second. Antonio, appreciated Super Adams left Green Bay because he didn't want to waste his prime playing with a young, unproven QB when Rodgers retires. You think this runs him out of time? I don't know. I don't know what Devontae Adams' situation is going to be. I can't even get to that part yet because when I came on this live, I didn't know that Derek Carr was going to be done. I just found it out while I was on the live. Still haven't had a top 20 defense since 2006. No championship until this is addressed. QB is irrelevant. All for upgrading positions. I think we agree on that. As far as me saying he's elite, right? As far as me saying he's elite, if I have ever called Derek Carr elite, it damn sure wasn't this year. That's like saying fucking Floyd Mayweather's elite. At some point in his career, he was. Right? Mike Tyson was elite until he wasn't. Floyd Mayweather was elite until he wasn't. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao were elite until they weren't. You don't get to just bring up old arguments when you're talking about a sport that is played week by week by week. That means week by week by week, performances will dictate your evaluation of the player. Do you not understand that? Like for anybody who's going to bring up something I've said about Derek Carr that was positive, so you mean to tell me you've never thought Derek Carr was good? You at one point in time never thought Derek Carr was good? You at one point didn't feel comfortable with Derek Carr having the ball with 2 minutes left and getting the job done? Even though he leads the NFL in comebacks, it has been this year when Derek Carr stopped doing the things that made me believe he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So I have not been on that Derek Carr's elite train this year. And if I ain't been saying it this year, then you need to respect the fact that I was able to change an opinion based on what I was seeing in real time. Now, some of you will say Derek Carr has been ass since 2016. That is just not true. That is just not true. We live in a production-based world, society, where what have you done for me lately? So if I said Derek Carr going into the season was a top 10 quarterback and you had to wait 17 weeks to tell me, haha, you was wrong, bitch, that's weak. That's weak. That's weak. Think about that. You had to wait 17 weeks until the organization benched him to tell me, haha, Honcho, you was wrong. I was wrong in September, but I didn't become wrong until December? What? Stop playing with me, Willie. Stop. With the same people that's and you were wrong about Derek Carr are the same people that said we should get rid of Josh Jacobs and now all on his dick because he's good. When I tried to tell you he was good. So we're not going to point out all the times I've been right when it came to this team in the last 2 years. When we're not going to talk about that, then I don't want to hear the one time, oh, you said Derek Carr was a top 10 and he's not. Really? Come on now. Come on now. Brian Honcho, Carr was elite. He got Pro Bowls and comebacks. Look, I think there has been times where Derek Carr plays at an elite level. There has been times. But this year, he wasn't to that level this year. Like a lot of you, I wasn't wrong for 2 years. I wasn't wrong for 2 years. Anytime I called Derek Carr top 10 was based on his stats being in the top 10. You thought I just woke up and felt like he was top 10? No. I've always called Derek Carr top 10 quarterback because majority of his stats fell around the top 10 area. Now, you guys will say he's trash, which would mean bottom tier of the NFL. So who was really wrong? I call him a top 10 quarterback, and now he's average, which will put him at 15. But you called him trash. So who's really wrong? Y'all crazy as hell. Y'all crazy. Gideon, appreciate the super. Brady would die behind this O-line. I'm thinking injuries are the reason for sitting Carr out possibly. I mean, he has been pretty banged up with back and ribs. That could explain the jacked up throws. Maybe. Appreciate the super. I think it's a little deeper than that, though. Honcho, do you think there's any way Carr comes back next season after this? ONT6, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping through. I don't know. I always feel like if it walks like a, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it damn sure ain't no mongoose, right? So at the end of the day, it would point to Derek Carr being done. It would point to Derek Carr being done. And I'm not surprised. Yo, we got 800 people in the chat, man. 290 likes. Hit them likes. I'm not surprised. Like I said, as a bigger fan as Derek Carr as I am, I just don't think Derek Carr did enough this year for anybody to be able to argue on his behalf. I don't. Like, I think you can argue on his behalf of why things didn't go right, but you can't argue on his behalf of what would be different if he stayed. I'm gonna hate it if Carr wins somewhere else. Brian, I know. A lot of people will. Simply comes down to business, in my opinion. You have too many holes to pay Carr $35 million, but people gonna see how many holes the team has now. Maybe, yeah, yo. I mean, this team has a lot to fix on that roster. Has a lot to fix. The thing is like, I'm not into the whole nana boo boo shit. Like a lot of y'all that come at me weak. Like you'll say Carr is trash and then say trade him for a first-round pick. Well, what trash quarterback garners a first-round pick? Like, come on, bro. Average quarterback and trash quarterback are not the same. So if I said he was top 10 and you're telling me he's 14, well, 14 is a lot closer to top 10 than it is to being trash. Paul, appreciate the super. Honcho, what do you think about going out and grabbing Lamar Jackson? Appreciate the super. I think Lamar Jackson would probably be at the top of my list of quarterbacks that I would be okay with bringing in. I would be okay with him coming in, right? Like, I think Lamar Jackson is a talent. Aaron Rodgers is a talent. Brady is a talent. Um, but if it was somebody like Jacoby Brissett and these kind of guys, I don't think you get an upgrade there. So if you're gonna tell me we're still gonna lose, but at least it'll be somebody different and somebody cheaper, then I'm okay with you bringing in Brissett in them. But if you're telling me you want to bring in a quarterback that's going to allow us to have an opportunity to win next year, I think it has to be a big name quarterback. How would you feel about Tom Brady joining us? It would be weird. The thing about Tom Brady is I'm a Michigan fan. So I was a fan of Tom Brady long before the Tuck Rule shit. So I like Tom Brady. I've never been one of these people that came up here and shitted on Tom Brady. I don't have a problem for Brady. Adams may leave. I don't know. I don't know if Adams wants to keep moving his family around. I think guys like that, it's important to understand the family dynamic. I believe DC regressed because of Josh McDaniels. He isn't an elite quarterback, but he is capable of getting the job done. Believe Raiders failed him. Raider Sanchez, appreciate the super. The thing is this, right? I'm gonna get to that super in a second. Sal, appreciate the super. We did Carr. We're complete idiots. Hold on to him. Fire McDaniels. Bring Musgrave back as an OC for Carr. See what happens. Wait for Drake, May, or Sam Hartman. Devontae is going to lose it. I don't know. Like, again, I just said, I don't know if Devontae is going to want to pick up and leave and move his family after, 10 months of being here. In my opinion, we need upside to compete with Herbert and Mahomes. Jordan Love has huge upside. I'd rather swing and miss than go for another bridge. Blue, that's valid. Brian, we have to cut, not trade Carr. Not enough time. NFL is weird. I think they can find a way. Shit. Let me get back to that super that I said I was going to address. Okay, about the thing about McDaniels failed Carr and we failed Carr and McDaniels is the reason why Carr this and Carr that. I think that McDaniels plays a part in Carr's regression, but at the end of the day, when you watch every game and you watch every snap and you watch every throw, Derek Carr was missing receivers. So even if you wanted to blame McDaniels for everything else, you would still have to blame Derek Carr for not hitting receivers where you need to hit them at. Period. Like I said, I played quarterback. I played for 3 different offensive coordinators. Every one of them taught me how to do something differently. Everyone read cover 3, cover 2, cover 4, cloud, cover 6, cover 9. They did everything different. But when I had a receiver open, it was still my job to hit the receiver. And I feel like too many times Carr threw some passes this year that I'm just like, what the hell was that? So I think Derek Carr did enough to sign him to remove himself from the Raiders. Where some cars going, but options are slim, and I don't trust McDaniels to draft, develop a QB. Justice, appreciate the super. Yeah, I don't know if Derek Carr is done. I don't know if Derek Carr is out of here. My point is, if Derek Carr is in fact done, and I know some people are just jumping in the chat, and if you are just jumping in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit them likes, and make sure you check out redemptionbrand.com and get you some of these fire hats, fire merch. Use promo code Honcho15, take 50% off your orders. But what I'm saying is that, shit, I don't know what I was saying. I forgot. Shit. I don't think it's a complete rebuild. Oh, about Derek Carr. Damn, what did that person say? I can't fucking remember. There's a lot of chats going on right now. No to Brady. I mean, look, I'd rather have Brady than Jacoby Brissett. Carr's hurt, I believe. I mean, look, like I said at the end of the... what I was saying before is I already stated I don't know if Derek Carr is going to be done with the Raiders. I'm just saying that if, in fact, he is done, I think Derek Carr... I think we have to be honest about this. Wow, worst B-Day present and Madden died last year. Yo, Josh, man, happy birthday, man. Shout out to you, man. Keep your head up. Look, man, it's not the end of the world. It's just the end of this world. A new one will begin. Do I throw better than Wick? Yes, probably. I'm confident. I can spin it. But I play more like Lamar Jackson. What I was saying is that you have to be honest with the idea that maybe Derek Carr was never McDaniels' guy. And therefore, no matter how well Derek Carr played, Derek Carr was always playing just to set himself up for the next season. whether it had been through trade, cut, release, whatever the case is. The fact that Josh McDaniels only gave Derek Carr 1 year and changed the offensive line as much as he did, Hunter Renfro and Waller were out so many times, not running the ball when he should have been running the ball. It just seems like he gave Derek Carr enough rope to hang himself, and Derek Carr did. Period. Manesh, appreciate the Super. Carr will win a Super Bowl elsewhere. Josh McDaniels gets fired next season, and we will be in a 5-year rebuild. Hopefully not. Nick G, appreciate the Super. McDaniels had Carr on a leash, didn't allow audibles, premeditated, predetermined passes, plus bad play calling, recipe for failure. I don't necessarily think he predetermined his passes. I think it's like this. All right. When I play quarterback, and you guys have to understand this, right? Just bear with me for a minute because I know some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't. I'm just going to explain what I think some of the issues are. Okay, if I get under center, right, I know that I'm looking at the coverage. I see cover 3. I see a single high safety. I see it's cover 3. Or, matter of fact, better yet, I see 2 safeties. Makes me think it's cover 2, but I can tell since the safety is playing on the inside part of the hash, he's going to walk down, but it's really cover 3. I need to know that Devontae Adams knows that that's still cover 3 and not cover 2. Meaning he needs to be in a certain spot that I need him to be versus cover 3. If Devontae Adams thinks that that's cover 2 because of the too high safety and doesn't see that the safety's walking down, it's becoming cover 3, those two are going to be on different pages. That's one thing. I think that happened a lot with the Raiders this year. That Carr was looking at a coverage certain ways, the receivers weren't. That's one thing. Second thing, I think the rules that offensive coordinators have versus different coverages might have been a problem for Derek Carr. Derek Carr might have been taught his whole career to play cover 4 this way. These are the routes you're going to throw to in cover 3. These are the routes you're going to throw to in cover 2. But Josh McDaniels might have a different approach and say, when we get cover 3, this is where you're going to put the ball. When we get cover 2, that's where you're going to put the ball. A lot of people don't understand that the quarterback position is already predetermined. The throws are already predetermined based on the coverage you get. That's why you'll see a quarterback staring down a receiver, because he already knows that in this coverage I'm going there anyway. That post route doesn't work. That post route doesn't work in this coverage. So I think there's been a lot of times that Derek Carr was either A, reading the coverage wrong, or just the route concepts versus the coverages isn't what Derek Carr is used to. Now, I'm not making any excuses because I've already gone on record saying Derek Carr played poor. Derek Carr had the ball in his hands. Derek Carr controls whether he puts the ball on the money or not. I'm not disagreeing with that. I am not debating that. I am not refuting any of that. My point is that there is much more to a pass being completed than just a quarterback throwing a good ball. All right, if we have 2.2 seconds to throw the football, I need to be able to make a decision that me and you are on the same page about. And I just think too many times this year, they weren't on the same page. Honcho, what you think is going to happen with Tay? Eduardo, I don't know, man. Appreciate the Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't think Tay's going to want to relocate his family after one season. Alex, appreciate the Super Bowl. If you watch the tape, Josh McDaniels set him up for failure all year. I think it was the plan all year. I mean, a lot of people have been running with the idea of him sabotaging him. I don't want to do that. I feel like that's lazy because I don't have any proof of that. I will say that it's unfortunate that you get a 9-year vet with pretty much a rookie head coach. Because usually you would rather have a veteran head coach with a rookie quarterback. Because now you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I feel like a rookie quarterback is not teaching a vet coach anything, right? But when you have a rookie coach, it's kind of hard to teach a 9-year vet anything. So I think at the end of the day, it just wasn't a good match for Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels, because it's going to be hard to get Derek Carr to play your style of football after playing for 9 years. Both can agree playing QB is very difficult to learn a new offense every year. Will Compton spoke to current Raiders. Carr knows Devontae is open, but he's doing what McDaniel's telling him to do. Sal, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if that's true, then that's on Derek Carr. Because if you know somebody's open, you throw him the ball. And you slap the shit out of your coach if he's mad at that. Period. Trust me. Like I said, I played the position, and every coach wants to like it's almost like I coach basketball right now. I coach football too, but I'm a defensive coordinator. I coach basketball. Like, I don't mind if my point guard argues with me over a play call or over how he's playing defense. Like I want the guy running the team on the floor to have a little bit of attitude of like, yo, I got this. Calm the fuck down. And I need the same thing from my quarterback, right? If you're just going to sit here and say, well, I know he's open, but you told me to throw it there, it's like, I'm not dealing with that. Like, that's not what I want either. So, again, that's on Derek Carr. So, like, again, I think Derek Carr is an upper echelon quarterback. I think Derek Carr can get the job done. I think Derek Carr would have succeeded with another season with the Raiders. But I cannot at all argue why Derek Carr should be the quarterback next year. I can't. But I think that to just say Derek Carr is trash without knowing how it works is just a problem I have. Like, I don't argue with anybody based on how I feel about Derek Carr. I don't argue about how I feel about football. I argue about what I know about football. Right? That's what I'm saying to you is that like, if I told some people on the internet right now, if you got a fucking if you're running trips with a nub and you're going against cover 6, where's going to be your first read if you got post seam wheel? What's going to be your first read against a cover 6 here? I doubt there's many people in the chat that can tell me what the hell I'm even talking about. But they'll tell you how Derek Carr should have did it. Right? That's the part that I have a disconnect with. And that's why you don't see me with a lot of people on YouTube. At the end of the day. Because I'm not here to argue about how you feel about anything. Go to a fucking psychiatrist, a shrink. Go to a guidance counselor at your fucking job or something. Go to HR. I'm not here for none of that. I'm only here for somebody who's going to give me intelligent football debates. Not about, well, he should have did this and he should have did that when you can't do shit. That's the only part that I have an issue with. Like, you want to tell me Derek Carr sucks? I know you don't know anything about football. Like, you can tell me Derek Carr had a bad game because everybody can see that. Just like you can tell a chef that the food tastes bad, but you can't tell him how he should have cooked it if you don't know how to cook. You can just have an opinion on how it tastes. You can have an opinion on how Derek Carr looks, but you can't have an opinion on what he should do if you don't know how to do it yourself. That's it. Based on what I've seen from Derek Carr in 9 years, based on what I've seen what Derek Carr has done with less teams, like the crazy part is that we'll say Derek Carr is ass because of his 9 years in the NFL. But we'll talk about how the defense is good because they've been good for 5 weeks. Well, shit. When Derek Carr was good for 5 weeks, y'all still said he was ass. But now that the defense is good for 5 weeks, you tell me that the defense is good. Well, how about we take the defense for 9 years, since we're taking Derek Carr's career for 9 years, and judge him on him being good or not based on 9 years, not 5 games. So if we judge the defense on the same criteria as you judge Derek Carr, then you'll be getting rid of fucking Max Crosby too. Because the defense plays like shit. Nobody blames Max Crosby. Nobody blames Perriman. Nobody blames Nate Hobbs. Even though Nate Hobbs has been a smidge over good this season, he ain't been great. Right? But we're not judging everybody on the same criteria. Once again, this is why I can't coexist with everybody. Because whether you like it or not, I'm consistent through the board. Right? Like, we'll blame Derek Carr for the main reason why the offense is terrible. Okay. But we don't blame any particular person on why the defense is bad. We won't even blame the defensive coordinator. We'll just say they didn't make enough money. Okay. So you mean to tell me if Derek Carr played next year for free, you would never call him ass? You would never call him trash? So Derek Carr is only trash because of his price tag. Well, then that means you have a feeling around him because of how much money he makes. It's not actually based on what you're seeing. It's based on how you feel, determined by his paycheck. Okay. Right? Because you're not bad at your job. You're just not as good as somebody who makes that much. Okay, that's different. That doesn't make him ass. That makes him not worth the money. But y'all not saying that. Y'all saying that he sucks. Well, does he suck or he just sucks compared to how much money he's getting? That's a different conversation. Y'all don't want to have that conversation, though. Raider Dad, appreciate the super. Always supported Carr, but Mac did great as a rookie last year in New England and McDaniel's system, and Carr with 9 years looked confused. I don't disagree with that, but I would also say that, let me get this one out the way. Josh McDaniels is pure snake oil seller. That's crazy. Hold on. You're 100%. It ain't what you did, but what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely. The thing about the whole Mac Jones situation last year is that it goes to my teacher, old dog, new tricks. Mac Jones coming from college, you're able to kind of mold him into what you want to see on the field. Right? That's what it comes down to. When you get a veteran quarterback, it's hard to break certain habits that Derek Carr is going to have. So I don't know if it's Derek Carr understanding the system and Mac Jones did. I would argue that they probably didn't give Mac Jones as much responsibility as they're giving Derek Carr. I can argue that. I don't know that for a fact. Josh McDaniels is an OC, not a head coach. It's sad that DC, under anyone else, would have one next year. I mean, look, we'll see. We'll see. But my argument is that to say Derek Carr sucks is that's just a broad statement. You have to break down that shit. You have to break that shit down. Because I've seen Derek Carr have great stats and lose games. And everybody says, fuck his stats. We lost. And I've seen Derek Carr have bad stats and won games. And then everybody's like, well, we didn't win because of Derek Carr. His stats sucked. So I think that as much as I get called a stan and as much as I get called a fanboy and all these things, I think the people that hate Derek Carr are more emotionally attached to the topic than I am. I don't give a damn. I just want to win games. You guys want to win, but not with Derek Carr. Like, I didn't say Derek Carr shouldn't be benched. I have never said that. I have never said that. But if you tell me you want Derek Carr benched for Stidham because you think it gives us the best chance to win, you're lying to yourself. And I won't allow you to lie to me. Tyrone, I hope I said your name right. I probably didn't. I hear you. Wilder, Renfro, and Murrow all single-handedly cost us games along with the defense on some bonehead penalties. Yeah, but I think Derek Carr has also cost us games too. The thing is, I just feel like we don't judge Derek Carr on the same criteria because Derek Carr has been here longer. Yeah, but if you're giving Derek Carr, if you told Derek Carr to go make you some cornbread, right? If you told Derek Carr to go make you some cornbread for 9 years, but every year you gave him different ingredients, how do you expect him to make the same cornbread or make it better? Like you know what I'm saying? Like he would have to learn how to cook the cornbread with the new ingredients. When you take something away and give somebody something, they have to learn how to move with the new shit you gave them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not making excuses. It's just that the people that bash him they don't go deeper than just I want to win. Okay, well we all want to win. Breeze, welcome to the Mafia, baby. Appreciate you. We make playoff card players or no? I don't know. I love cornbread. That's why I chose that one. Because at the end of the day, you keep telling him he has to cook this immaculate meal, but you're giving him different ingredients every year. So when he masters one way of making that cornbread, you're like, okay, you made it good, but make it better, but I'm going to take this away and give you this. And it's like, well, damn, I just got used to cooking this shit like this. Las Vegas Raiders with Farrell. What's up, yo? Salute, Honcho. Great channel. I have a bad feeling about this McDaniels guy. First of all, salute to you, Farrell, because I know we don't talk much, but I appreciate the brand you got. I appreciate the brand because it's a little different than what everybody else got going on. And you see I got you see how I'm rocking on my arm, right? You see, so I respect what you got going on. Yo, appreciate the super. Thanks for checking it out. That's what they do on Top Chef Honcho, yeah. But I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Everybody talks about Jimmy G. The one thing Jimmy G has always consistently had was a great defense. Always. Now, I'll agree the defense is playing great the last few weeks, but we would also have to agree that they should be playing great the last few weeks. I mean, you're going against Matt Jones. You're going against Russell Wilson. Who else did they beat? You went against Pickett. You should play well. I don't want to take anything away from them. I just want to keep it in perspective, right? But at the end of the day, Derek Carr has been responsible for losses this year. I feel like Derek Carr was single-handedly responsible for New Orleans. I think he was responsible for the first Chargers game. I think he's responsible for a few losses this year. But the defense is also responsible for a few losses this year. But the defense is getting a pass because nobody expected them to be good. But this is the thing. This is the thing I don't understand. Is that the people that are using the whole I didn't expect the defense to be good argument is like the thing that bothers me about we didn't expect the defense to be good this year are the same people that say Derek Carr sucks. Oh, if you think Derek Carr sucks, why the fuck did you expect him to be good? Why did you expect to win games? Why did you expect him to play better? Why are you surprised he played poor? Right, so you're saying you didn't expect the defense to be good, so you don't blame them for being bad. But at the same time, you've been telling me for years that Derek Carr isn't good. but somehow expected him to win games this year. With the defense you thought was bad and the quarterback you thought was bad. But you thought they were supposed to win games this year. Y'all not keeping it real with yourself. A professional chef can cook with whatever you give them. No, that's a great chef. I know a bunch of professional chefs that do it their way. They wouldn't be able to cook my mama's mac and cheese her way, the way she does it. A regular chef. Just because they're professional don't mean they're great. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. Derek Carr is not great. He's a good quarterback. He's good enough to win games. Carr was tough and had heart, but lost the fire. I don't know if I agree with that. I just think Derek Carr is... I think quarterback is a very mentally strenuous position, and I think he's playing for a coach that makes it hard. I think Derek Carr's coach makes it hard for him. I mean, the Raiders should have beat the Cardinals. All right, Raiders should have beat the Cardinals. That should be another win. I think the Raiders should have beat the Titans. Right? Failed two-point conversion, but Darren Waller also dropped a touchdown. I thought Derek Carr played good in that game. I thought Derek Carr played good enough to win Jacksonville. I thought Derek Carr played good enough to beat the Colts. Like, Derek Carr wasn't great this year, but Derek Carr still played well enough to win games that we didn't win this year. And it's complimentary football. It's being in the right place at the right time. Derek Carr versus the Chiefs, the first game, played great. Derek Carr played a great game against the Chiefs, and we still lost after putting up 29 points. Because there's certain moments in the games, like I'll take last night, for instance, right? Let me get this super out. Didn't see the fire in his eyes this season. Well, you must have a great TV, because I didn't really get that close to him. But, I appreciate your insight and your opinion. I ain't going to dog you for that. But look, at the end of the day, last night I watched the Sixers play. And the last two possessions the Sixers had before they lost, Joel Embiid, who's one of the best players in the NBA, had back-to-back turnovers, and they lose the game. But the stat sheet said Embiid had 48 points and 9 rebounds. So an average person looking at that stat sheet is going to say, well, Embiid must have had a good game. But in those moments, Embiid blew the game, right? And I feel like that's the same way you can look at the Raiders' defense, is that when you look at 17 points, you say, wow, they must have played a good game. But when you talk about you giving up a 98-yard touchdown drive with no timeouts with less than 2 minutes on the clock to a team that had a quarterback on 2 days practice, to me, you blew the game. Yes, it didn't always have to come down to that, but you blew the game in my opinion, right? The same way with the Jacksonville game. You look at the Jacksonville game and you're like, oh, defense played pretty well. They only gave up 20 points or 27 points, whatever the case is. But it's like, yeah, but that touchdown they gave up before the half, when they let the quarterback run all the way down the field for like 60 yards, didn't tackle them, and then let them do that, that killed our momentum, killed the rhythm we had going on. Like, moments of games decide the outcome, not the box score. Not the box score, right? Not the box score. Right? Like, that just, it is what it is. You think we trade up for Young or CJ? I want Carter. Obi, I don't know. Appreciate you, Super. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard for me to think about the draft right now, like, honestly. Carr is falling off, but I do feel for him for having so many coaching changes over the 9 years. It's what it is, though. Look, man, it's professional sports. It is what it is. I think the situation really for me is, I wish Derek Carr would have played better if this was going to be the result for him anyway. You don't like to ever, as an athlete, you don't want to feel like woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I think Derek Carr's going to look back on this season and be like, wow, I could have done a little better. And I didn't. And I think that that's the only sad part. For all athletes, I always feel like that. Like, when you know it's your last game, your senior year, and you have a poor game, like, I think that that's going to be rough. Okay, so where we go from here? Where we go from here? I think we got to wait and see. I think we all should just relax. I mean, look, everybody wanted Derek Carr gone. Now he's gone. Let's just relax now. Let's relax. Let's just relax, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to worry about how to fix everything right now, right? Because that's like life, right? Sometimes in life you're afraid to make decisions because you don't know how it looks going forward. Whether you say yes, I don't know how it looks going forward, and if I say no, I don't know how it looks going forward. We don't need to know how it looks going forward, guys. Like, we should just relax, be fans. We don't have to argue about Derek Carr for a while now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Derek Carr is going to be scapegoated for why this season was the way it was. But at the end of the day, I don't think Derek Carr did enough to not be scapegoated. No relaxing. It's been too many years of trash. Yeah, but what the hell are you gonna do? You gonna go play for him? You gonna go scout for him? You gonna go like what are you gonna do? Like that's what I mean about being emotionally attached. The way some people are is like, look, at the end of the day, ain't shit I can do. Ain't shit I can do. Ain't a damn thing I can do. Right? How will this affect Adams, the brother base? I don't know, man. Appreciate the sue. I don't know. I don't. Again, I came on here to talk about the possibility of Carr not playing this week. I had no idea that he wasn't gonna play. So I'm kind of like, I found out on live that he was benched. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Carr remind me of Kobe, polarizing. I like him. I like Derek Carr too, and I feel like I would say majority of the Raiders fan base felt like when the Raiders got the ball back against Pittsburgh with 50 seconds left and 3 timeouts that Derek Carr was going to go get the job done and put us in position. They're lying if they thought they didn't believe that. Or they wouldn't have been so mad when we lost. Right? I believe the majority of the fan base felt like Derek Carr with the ball with 50 seconds left, no matter how poor he played, gave us a chance to win. And that's the one thing I'm going to miss about Derek Carr being on the Raiders is that when Derek Carr played, I always felt like he gave us a chance. This year, not so much. This year, we didn't get the job done with 1-possession games or 2-point games with the last 2 minutes. I will agree that in years past, Derek Carr closed the deal a lot more than he has this year. But I also feel like when you go to the well one too many times, eventually it's not going to be no water in it. And I think that Derek Carr has made his career on winning games in the clutch, coming back from behind to win games, game-winning drives, game-tying drives, overtime, whatever the case may be. And I think at some point, it's going to catch up to you, man. It's going to catch up to you. And I think that's what it did for the Raiders. I think the Raiders needed to, I will say that I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback, but he's a type of quarterback that needs to have things around him to be successful. And I know a lot of people will say, well, he had Devontae and it's like, yes, I understand that. But like, if I'm a boxer, yeah, it helps me to have a good cut man and a good coach in my corner, but I'm in the ring and I'm doing something here versus here. Devontae Adams is good for a quarterback, but at the end of the day, it's not just having a wide receiver. It's not just having a wide receiver. It's about wide receiver and you being on the same page, about your chemistry. It's about having other threats on the field to get that wide receiver to open and give him the ball. It's about line protecting, not just on winnable downs, but on downs when they're bringing the blitz. It's a lot that comes into a quarterback being successful. A good defense, a good head coach to know when to call a play, when not to call a play, the right audibles, the right line protections. It just goes, so much more goes into a quarterback being good that where when you take Patrick Mahomes, even if you took him out of Andy Reid's system and this and that, I think Patrick Mahomes is just better than Derek Carr, so he's going to find a way to get the shit done. I would say that Josh Allen will find a way to get it done even if he had less. I think Lamar Jackson to some degree will be able to do stuff. But you see how Deshaun Watson is struggling, and we know he's good, right? You've seen Kirk Cousins struggle before, and now he's doing what he's doing. There's a lot that goes into it to be good. And it's not that Carr hasn't been given a lot to work with. It's just that the things he's been given to work with, just like himself, has not been consistently good all the time. Right? That's just what it is, yo. That's just what it is. Derek Carr has not been consistently good, and the things around him have not been consistently good. When you come to coaches, wide receivers, O-line, defense, they have not all been consistently good at the same time. So at the end of the day, I would like to have seen Derek Carr get another year, but I can't be mad if he's not getting another year, and you can't really argue he should get another year. That's just where I'm at right now. That's just where I'm at right now. Well, you can't say he'll lead us to the playoffs, Stidham, because at the end of the day, he's been given 6 games that he didn't win or play in. So, I mean, you know, Carr is Romo 2.0. I agree. Great quarterback on garbage team, and Carr hasn't always been great. Yeah, I think that's the way to look at it. I think that I get the stand situation because I defend Carr because I feel like I'm defending him versus people that are like poo-pooing his career and his achievements and his ability. I think that's what it comes down to, and I think that's the coach in me, right? That's the coach in me, where I see somebody that might be disrespecting a player, and it's like, well, look, that player has this going on, that player does this behind the scenes, this, and that. I think that a lot of the stuff that I have an issue with the complaints to Derek Carr is because outside of the Raiders win-loss, I mean, Derek Carr has done almost everything you can do for an organization that hasn't done much for him. The O-line can't pick up blitzes at all. Well, yeah, that shit happens. That shit happens. I thought the season, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the season changed when we didn't get that two-point conversion against the Chiefs. Then you had also the Cardinal situation. Like, I knew this season was going to be weird. I think Carr has played his last snap as a Raider. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he has. Pizzle, what's up? I missed your $5 chat. I got you. Well, I hope I got you. Think this benching is terrible. No one can come in and play better than him next year. We're gonna be in the Niners' shoes, draft a QB high, and he's mid. I mean, look. At the end of the day, you can't say that nobody's gonna come in and do better because you would agree that if the Raiders had a better defense, they would have won more games. Well, what if the Raiders have a better defense? They're gonna win more games. You don't have to be as good as Derek Carr to win 6 games. You don't. I'm sorry, because there's quarterbacks out there. Daniel Jones is not better than Derek Carr, but he has 8 wins. Right? So at the end of the day, we don't need to replace Derek Carr with necessarily somebody better. I think the people that support Carr want that because it makes us feel better. Like, hey, at least we got somebody better than Derek Carr. You can get somebody not as good as Derek Carr and win if the things around him work. Kirk Cousins, 12 wins. He's not better than Derek Carr. Chris Gang, what's up with it, my boy? But yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here soon, yo. I just wanted to come into the Raider metaverse and chop it up with some of the folks. Yeah, strange day, man. Strange day. But I guess if you're a fan long enough, you see strange things, right? And today was strange, yo. Derek Carr is officially benched. And that's that. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, both at Raider Honcho. Make sure you hit the likes on the way out. Make no mistake, the defense needs tons of work to be a playoff team. Nobody's making that mistake. Everybody feels like that. The Raiders will be fine. The Raiders will be fine because you have corner pieces. You got Parm, you got Colton Miller, you got Wilder, Renfro. If you bring Jacobs back, you got Max Crosby, you got Cleve Farrell, you got Merrick, you got Nate Hobbs. Amik has been serviceable. You got, what's that, Tyler Hall, is that his name? Like, you got pieces. You got pieces. It just takes a competent mind to complement those pieces. And, you got to believe until they prove otherwise that that's what they're going to do. You got pieces. Rocky Yassin, I haven't been too impressed with him. Because he's not a corner one. I mean, he's a cornerback too. You can tell the new the fans are because they definitely never experienced the actual mediocrity of Raiders QBs from 03 to 14 and think, trust me, if I'm not mistaken, now I might be tripping. But as a kid, you got to know I'm on the East Coast. So I didn't see a lot of Raider games when I was younger. I mean, unless they came on CBS or NBC or Monday Night Football. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that the first Raiders quarterback that I can remember, and I can remember was Jeff Hostetler. Like, I can be wrong. Let me see what years did he play for the Raiders? What year does Jeff Hostetler play for the Raiders? 93? 93 to 96? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? 93? Did Jeff Hostetler play for the Raiders in 93? 92, 90. So that's what I'm saying. So the first quarterback I've seen for that I can remember for the Raiders, watching them on TV, was Jeff Hostetler. So you got to know how many quarterbacks I've seen from Jeff Hostetler to now. I've seen the Raiders go year and year and year with a new quarterback that didn't do anything for us. And I think that that's my only concern, is that it's not that, oh, y'all really scared to replace Carr because anybody can do what he can do. And it's like, yeah, but the thing is, that's dangerous verbiage. That's dangerous language, because when you had Terrell Pryor, you thought that, well, you can get anybody better than Terrell Pryor. When you had Tuiasa Sopo, you can get anybody better than him. When you had Carson Palmer, you can get anybody better than him. When you had Kerry Collins, you can get anybody better than him. When you had Jamarcus Russell, you can get anybody better than him. When you had Jeff George, you can get anybody better than him. Right? Then you get quarterbacks that aren't better than him. So I think for me, the fear is Jason Campbell as well, Dante Culpepper. I've seen so many quarterbacks the Raiders had. Outside of Rich Gannon, the only other quarterback that gave us a chance to win was Derek Carr. Now, whether you like it or not, the only other quarterback that gave us a chance to win in the last 30 years has been Rich Gannon and Derek Carr. So at the end of the day, no, nobody's saying so you want to stay mediocre. Like stop doing that. Like, motherfucker, I will say exactly what I mean, and I will mean what I say. You can quote what I'm saying when I'm saying it. If it's not what I said, then stop asking me if that's what I'm saying. You can clearly tell what I'm saying. Nobody's saying stay mediocre. No. Nobody's saying stay mediocre. We're not mediocre right now. We suck. Like, you just jumped in the middle of me making my damn point. Nobody's saying I want to stay mediocre. The point is everybody's mad that people are hesitant to replace Carr, but the problem is, it's not because we want to stay mediocre. It's because the franchise has not proven they can actually competently replace Derek Carr. What is so hard for you to understand about that? What is so hard to understand about that? We're not disagreeing that it's time to move on. But for Raider fans to be hesitant of like cheering, like, yes, we finally got rid of Derek Carr. That's not anybody saying we shouldn't get rid of Derek Carr. That's not saying that we can't get better than Derek Carr. That's not saying we want to go 6-11 every year. That's not what anybody's saying. What we're saying is, if you're going to replace Derek Carr, get it right. Get it right. Period. Don't ask me, oh, so you need to want to shut the hell up and listen. Then you won't have to ask me anything. I'm telling you clearly what the issue is. Whether Derek Carr is below average, average, above average, trash, whatever he is not as bad as Terrell Pryor, Marcus Tuiasa-Sopo, Carson Palmer, Kerry Collins, Jason Campbell, Dante Culpepper, Jeff George. He's not worse than any of them. And it took 20-something years to get better than them. So how does somebody not have a valid point in saying the franchise has not proven they can actually replace the guy? Because if Derek Carr sucks so bad, how come they haven't replaced him already? Tell me. Tell me. If Derek Carr is so terrible and I don't know shit about football, why haven't they replaced him already? If it was so easy to replace Derek Carr, how come he has not been replaced yet? He's gotten 2 contracts. So don't act like I'm crazy because I'm saying, hey, they haven't proven they can replace anybody. Bitch, they ain't replaced them in 9 years. Because they put money behind them, so they be mad at them. Don't be mad at me. Nobody's mad at the organization for paying the guy, not sitting the guy, starting him every year, putting weapons around. Nobody's blaming the organization who's giving him the job. But you're mad at me for supporting the guy they gave the job to. Think about how that sounds to somebody that can think. Think about that. If Derek Carr was so easy to replace, why haven't they done it? If he was so trash, why'd they put the money behind him? You keep arguing they couldn't get rid of him because they gave him the money. Why the fuck did they give him the money if he's trash? I'm not talking about you. See, y'all gotta understand, when there's 600 people in the chat, y'all might not see all the shit I'm seeing at the time I'm seeing it. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing, is because people are hesitant to cheer for replacing Derek Carr does not mean they don't agree with replacing Derek Carr. I think the people that are hesitant to cheer for Derek Carr leaving is because the Raiders organization hasn't proven that they can competently replace Derek Carr. And the franchise, whether you like to believe it or not, it can get worse than this. Period. Period. It can get worse than this. I've seen it worse than this. I've seen it worse than this. So what I'm telling you is stop acting like replacing Carr is as easy as you think it is. It may not be. Because if it was easy as you think it is, he would have already been gone. You had teams offering first-round picks, second-round picks for Derek Carr, and nobody gave him up because it was like, yeah, even if we get rid of Derek Carr and get those picks, we don't know if we can find a quarterback better than him. But yet you guys keep acting like there's so many quarterbacks better than him. This sets us back so much, Davis. Please tell the team. BRLO19, I don't know how to say your name because I'm not that smart. Appreciate the super, but I don't know. I don't know. You'll eat your words. We're moving up in the... See, that's the thing. Is y'all keep making it seem y'all keep making it seem like I'm saying you can't replace Derek Carr. That's not what I'm saying. You can't create words that I'm going to eat. You're trying to create a narrative of me saying, oh, Derek Carr is irreplaceable. I am not saying that. I do think he's better than Cousins. I do think he's better than Cousins. I'm not saying we can't replace Derek Carr. I'm saying until we replace Derek Carr with somebody better than Derek Carr, I'm not going to act like we have. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you tell me you're going to give me $1 million, I'm not going to act like I have $1 million until you fucking give it to me. So until you replace the man, I'm not going to cheer about replacing him. Huh? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Derek Carr is better than Kirk Cousins. He's not playing better than Kirk Cousins right now, I'll tell you that much. He's not playing better than him, but he is better than him. Well, this is how it starts, Honcho. Okay, I'm okay with how it starts. So I'm not allowed to have any... I have to just be optimistic about everything. I'm not allowed to have any trepidation about anything. And if I do, it makes me not a real fan. It makes me not believing in them. And it makes me feel like I'm saying he can't replace Carr. Like, no, that's your insecurities. That's you putting words in my mouth. All I'm saying is, if we're going to replace Derek Carr, cool. I'm okay with that. Replace Derek Carr. I want to win games. I'd rather win with anybody else than lose with Derek Carr. Facts. But at the end of the day, I'm tired of having this small talk about, oh, you want to be mediocre? When I'm not saying that. Oh, you want to stay this? When I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that Raider fans know that it can get worse than this. It can get worse than this. Because everybody wanted John Gruden out. And it got worse. As bad as John Gruden was, he left and it got worse. So as bad as Derek Carr is, you have to understand whether the percentages are low or high. Whether the draft picks are low or high. There is a reality that exists where it can get worse. You don't want to accept that. That's not my problem. So you're afraid to move on from Carr. You're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. You know what? Maybe you're not an idiot. But that's an idiotic question. Because I just clearly explained everything. Like, we're not arguing Derek Carr being good right now. That's not the argument. The argument is it can get worse than this. That's all. Worse how? Well, you could win 4 games instead of 6. The fact that we only won 6 games and we're still in the playoff hunt, it can get worse. We can be out of the fucking playoff hunt in December. So it could get worse. My name is Honcho, not Honcho. Say it right or don't say it at all, Playboy. No, I'm not hurt because Carr's getting benched. I actually agree with it. I agree with that. If you're not going to bring Derek Carr back the next year, why pay him guaranteed money if he gets hurt? I agree with them benching him. That's all. I agree with that. I agree with them benching him. So don't tell me what I'm mad about. For you to say he was never good is that's just... If Derek Carr was never good, then you better never have been mad that we lost any games under Derek Carr. You should never be mad that we lost any games because he wasn't good. He was not expected to win, so you should never be mad. Pizzle, you must be the happiest person in the world. What does it say about the organization giving a trash QB3 contracts? That's my point, King. That's my point. Delete. Appreciate the super. In the last 4 games, Derek Carr. Look, I'm not going into this. Derek Carr has been playing trash. I'm not getting into that. I'm not going to argue shit that we already know. I'm not going to argue that. I already agreed to that shit. I've been on here for 74 minutes. If I said it in minute 3, that's your fault. You missed it. I've already agreed to all those things. Derek Carr's played like shit this year. Derek Carr did not do enough for anybody to argue why he should be the quarterback next year. Derek Carr has not done enough to prove he should be the quarterback next year. Derek Carr has played poor in spots where he should have played good in spite of a head coach that I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, Derek Carr had the ball in his hands. Derek Carr had chances to throw good passes and he didn't. Derek Carr being benched is all on Derek Carr. I am not refuting any of that. But stop arguing with me today about something I said a year and a half ago. Stop. Stop. I wouldn't throw in the tight windows either if I was Derek Carr. He's not the motherfuckers he has tight windows to throw to, and not guys I want to throw to. Shit, Waller dropped a wide open pass in the tight window in the end zone of the Titans game. Number 84, motherfucking dropped passes off his shoulder pads in the Titan game. Foster Moreau is dropping passes right off his hands. I wouldn't throw in the tight windows either. Shit. Silver Surfer, man. Come on, man. Get a profile picture, bro. It's not fair. You know what I look like, know what I sound like, know what I... Come on, you know what I stand like. Y'all come in here and argue with me and have blank faces, nothing. You guys are fucking cowards. Like, cowards. Nah, Derek Carr's played like shit. And if Derek Carr's not the quarterback next year, I totally understand why. That's what I mean. It's like people keep popping up in the chat like I'm going against what's happening right now. I am in favor of what's happening. You guys just don't want to listen to it because then it makes your day boring that you can't come at me anymore. Like you guys want to be able to, I'm going to go get that Carr, go get at Honcho because his boy Carr's getting benched. And then you get to my page and I'm like, yeah, he should be benched. And now you have to do what? Make up shit. No, you mad that he get benched. Bitch, I just said I'm not. I've never been a Carr stan. Look, my stance on Carr has just been he's not as bad as a lot of people make him seem. Next year, who's to blame when Raiders still lose? I think if we get a good quarterback, I think if we get a better quarterback than Carr, we won't lose. I'm sorry. Who's gonna replace him? They'll find somebody. They'll find somebody. But y'all about to get up out of here, man. I gotta go to a basketball game. I gotta go support a basketball game. Take my son out there. Nobody can replace Derek Carr. He stepped up last year. See, I'm not saying that. Don't. I didn't say that shit. I just read it out loud. That wasn't my thoughts. Replace Carr with Honcho. I tell you what, if I played quarterback for the Raiders, I would end the season with, I would not complete a pass above the line of scrimmage. All my passes would be screen passes in the backfield, and I would probably run for a good 360 yards. I'm dropping back and I'm running. Run 4 verts, run everybody off, give you some good protection. I'm out of there, son. I'm not throwing no passes. But yo, that's the news, man. Derek Carr's bench. Derek Carr's probably played his last snap for the Raiders, which sucks because it'll end on an interception. Nobody wants to leave their game like that. Trust me, my last play my senior year, I wasn't no pick. I ain't go out like that. But I took an L in the playoffs. Something that Derek Carr's not going to do for his last game. But yeah, man, it looks like Derek Carr's done as a Raider is what it is. The people will still call me a stan, even though I agree with this call. I agree with him being benched, and I agree that Derek Carr's had a bad year, even though he's had good moments. I think overall the totality of it has been poor. Derek Carr did not do enough to save his job, and Derek Carr did not do enough for me to actually argue that he should have a job next year with the Raiders. I would like to see him back, but if he's not back, I think Derek Carr did it to himself. And I don't even think Derek Carr could have done anything to change that because I believe that he was never McDaniel's guy unless he comes back. But, you know, it is what it is. Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, both at Raider Honcho. Check out RaiderHoncho.com. Check out RedemptionBrand.com. Use promo code Honcho15. Get you some of this fire stuff. Take 15% off. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like this video on the way out. And, yeah, as always, till the next time, Raider Honcho out.